Doug Karsch, Scott Anderson, 97.1. Okay, look, it was a depressing night down at LCA. Hopefully this season they can dig down deep and find something they haven't been able to find for 1, 2, 3 years here and rally at the end of the schedule and make the postseason. But I think two guys that are more optimistic than many are not very optimistic this morning. But I'm not giving up. But the trajectory of this season and this organization certainly doesn't look great right now. But we got the Lions. Lions, I would describe the Lions as in good shape. They got a bunch of good players, but people want to see them make some big investment, right? And got to understand, Brad Holmes went on with the Lions Collective and it was kind of a tell-all. It was really, really insightful into what he is thinking and what drives their philosophy. And, I give Holmes credit for doing it. I give the guys credit for asking really good questions and being able to sort of really get to the crux of what the general manager who makes these decisions, what drives those decisions. So that is Jeff Iafrate, Justin Rogers, Colton Pouncey, and the Birchie kid all in on this. So well done, guys. And we'll start with the signings that they did make. So many people, understandably, us included, really everybody, wanted to see an investment in the offensive line. And that happened, maybe not with high-end signings, but with signings that clearly Brad Holmes believes in. And we'll start with Cade Mayes. When you watched Cade Mayes, was not the top center on the board, but when you watched Cade Mayes, what did you see and how can he help this team? Here's what Brad Holmes had to say. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Honestly, I watched the whole 52-minute thing yesterday, and great job by the guys for landing the interview and sitting down with them and they asked them some tough questions. And I didn't love the responses I got from Brad Holmes and the constant use of the word constraints and all this. And hey, guys, we have a budget, and
we'll get to all that.
Yeah, as it relates to Cade Mayes, Cade Mayes is a quality center. And I think they liked it because just cut it down because it was budget friendly. That's why they liked it. And he's a good player. Sure, who's not going to like that? Hey, we can get him cheap, and he's actually an upgrade over what we had, which is what we always talk about. It's just logic. But the whole attitude about, what they we'll let some more sound play out. But
yes, so there's a few things here. And again, this is insight into what he is thinking. Okay, you don't have to agree with it. But when he said, for what he has shown and how long he has played the position, if you look at Cade Mayes' career, his first 2 years he played guard. He switched over to center the last 2 years. And I think he got more starts this year than he did the year before. Yes, he did. He went from 5 starts at center. No, he went from 8 starts at center to 12 starts at center. He thinks the trajectory at that position has a lot of upside. And, I go back to something I say a lot, because when you're the general manager and you're trying to get to the mountaintop, whatever your philosophy is, you better be right. You better be right. So what they've invested here in him, it's not a lot this year. He's not much of a hit on the cap this year. In fact, he's minimal hit on the cap this year, but he will be in the future if there's no outs, they move on from him, whatever. But he sees something there that he thinks, and again, you better be right, that he can get better from what he has been because he hasn't played the position a ton. Thinks there's a lot of upside there. Now, as far as, when you mentioned the top guy and what he gets, it's Tyler Linderbaum, who got the massive contract. And he's like, okay, the number 2 guy, the gap between number 2 and 3 and 4, the gap in what they got paid compared to the gap between them as players, he makes it sound like he thinks he got the best value for another center. Mm-hmm. For what they're paying and what they're getting. He thinks that, that was a good value signing for them that improves him at the position. And maybe improves him a lot if they're right about his upside at the spot. So Hank Fraley, you're on the job. Let's see if that's the case.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with the Cade Mayes signing. I think that's the golden signing that they had.
Then there's Larry Borom, all right, the tackle. And there was much discussion about, is he going to start for you? And anyway, here's what he had to say about Larry Borom. Okay. What he had to say there provides a little insight on what they think he's going to be and what they think he's going to do. Because he's basically said we like him a lot as a right tackle. He's played all over, but he thinks his best film is at right tackle. Lions have a right tackle.
Yeah, one of the best right tackles in football.
And that right tackle, he didn't commit yesterday to him moving to left tackle. But when you love Larry Borom at right tackle, and maybe not so much the other positions that he's played, says to me, we're going to put this guy at right tackle and we're moving Penei Sewell to left tackle. This isn't earth-shattering analysis, but that seems obviously to be the plan, and they think they got a guy who can be good at that spot. Now, they also said he never say never with Decker, but there's been no discussions with Decker coming back.
Yeah, I think what you said about Larry Borom tells me either what you said or it tells me that they're still looking at tackle in the draft with a first-round pick, and if they really value, say, 2 or 3 offensive tackles, and one of those guys is theirs at 17, that they will draft that person to compete with Borom for the spot at right tackle. I think it makes all the sense in the world to move Penei Sewell to the left side. He can clearly play the left side. He played it in college, and he played it at such a high level everybody thought he was going to be a top 10 pick, and he was. And then they moved him to the right side. No question was, could he play right? Yes, he can play right tackle. But because of what he had to say about Borom, I mean, how are we not to draw the conclusion that Sewell's going to play left tackle, and at least to start, you're going to have Borom at right tackle unless the guy they drafted 17. If the guy they drafted 17 is just strictly a left tackle, then to keep Penei Sewell at the right side, Borom becomes depth, and then you got Monroe Freeling playing at left tackle or whomever,
Right. And he kept talking about creating competition, and that's what they try to do. Borom may be your starting tackle, may not be your starting tackle. His point is, if we play him, he's going to be at the position that he's most adept to playing, right tackle.
Would you agree that either Borom's going to start or we're going to have a rookie starting?
Yes.
Okay.
Hundo. 248-539-9797. All right, the financial constraints and his building philosophy. What he had to say about those things we will get to today at 11:47. Brad Holmes speaking with the Detroit Lions Collective yesterday. We are bringing you the highlights of that, and we will get to those things next here on 97.1.